As the World Environment Summit, COP30, gets into the negotiation stage in Brazil, the TV environmentalist Chris Packham says the UK must step up and lead like it did in World War II by developing a global action plan for tackling climate change. And he is joining me now. Good evening. Thanks for being with us. So what did you mean? You talked about a D-Day moment for a World War-style action against climate.
Well, Mark, as you know, we've been running these COPs now since 1995, and the overall mission has been to reduce the CO2 emissions which are going out into the atmosphere. We failed to do that. We had a limit set in Paris that we didn't want to go over 1.5. We've effectively broken 1.5 at this point. The COPs are always difficult to achieve momentous things because it's got to be agreed by consensus, and when you've got those petro-states always there to trip up any of those sorts of agreements at the end, they're not going to make the monumental progress that we need to urgently see at this point. Coupled with the fact that, of course, this year the United States, the Indian delegation, Chinese and the Russians have not really put too much effort into COP. I'm not saying it won't achieve small things, it probably will, but it's not going to do the sorts of things that we really need to see a sea change in our attitude to climate breakdown. So my point is that the UK has the capacity to invest at this point in a strategy which will pay dividends for us here in the UK, make sure that we get energy security, we lower our cost of living, and we look forward to a more resilient world for us to move in. We did this during World War II, and we've got to be clear at the moment, we as a species are at war with our planet, and we need to get urgent agreement, pushing back against the raft of misinformation that's being pumped out by the extreme right, and make sure that we win the trust of those people who are going to vote for people who will govern us and secure us a safe and healthy future.
Yeah, and yet, Chris, a Labour government has just walked away from a £28 billion green pledge. And I was reading the other day, you said politicians need to be better informed. Yeah. Don't they just reflect their voters, and voters don't seem to have climate at the top of their agenda right now?
Well, I think there are two things here. Firstly, the voters, that's all of us, need to have a better understanding of the situation so that we can compel our elected representatives to do the right thing for us. But ultimately, we've got to make sure that those people are better informed. So on that account, I shall be opening a national emergency briefing in Westminster Hall on the 27th of November. It's a panel composed of scientists, not just climate scientists or people that are looking at extreme weather, but people who are also looking at food security, national security, and we will be hoping to attract as many peers as MPs as possible. So please, at this point, write to your local MP and compel them to attend, because we want to make sure that they've got the best advice so they can make the best informed decisions when it comes to it. And at the moment, there's a tremendous amount of misinformation being perpetuated by those with vested interest in bad business as usual, the petrochemical people, the polluters of the world. They're investing very heavily in global politics. We've seen that in the United States and to a great extent here in the UK as well. So we've got to make sure that the facts, the truth, is put on the table for those decision makers to be able to make the right decisions. And we need to ask them to turn up and make sure they are better informed.
Right, so we've got 2 minutes left. How do you make the argument, then, that fighting climate change makes economic sense in an atmosphere where you've got people saying, look, I can't afford to fork out for electric cars, I can't afford heat pumps, you know, it's not a priority, it's all about cost of living?
Well, it's all about investment, isn't it, really? We have problems with energy security at the moment. We have a cost of living crisis, and energy security is part of that, the prices we're paying for our energy. At the same time, our government continues to subsidise the fossil fuel industries to the tunes of billions every year, and they're making grotesque profits. In my world, the world of the environmentalist, polluter pays. We should find a way of properly incentivising those industries to transition to renewables as quickly as possible, because those renewables are much cheaper than fossil fuels. And also, we should make sure that we're investing in people. We're investing in jobs for the future, not just the next 5 minutes. And that's why we need a government and decision makers who are brave and bold and are going to do the right thing, not just for ourselves at this point in time, but for our grandchildren and the future of our one and only home, planet Earth.
Right, and 45 seconds left now. But look, we've got a US president who thinks climate change is a con-trick. You've got the Indians, China not even turning up, insisting fossil fuels are necessary for their growth.
Yes, well, OK, China's a bit of a dark horse. China often sort of doesn't show up or seems to underplay, but then over-delivers. I mean, at the moment, 50% of their energy is coming from renewables, and 50% of the Chinese are driving around in electric cars. They are putting together the technologies which they're going to sell the rest of the world. My point at this point is if we had a forward-thinking government, we would invest in UK industries so that we would be selling those technologies to the rest of the world, not buying them from China. That's the sort of vision that we need at the moment. Climate breakdown is going to happen. Fortune will favour the brave. It's time for us in the UK, as we have been in the past, to be brave.
Chris Packham, appreciate you coming on. Thanks very much indeed. Thank you. Right, you're watching the NewsHour coming